Hey everyone, welcome once again to Vicious Chats. I am Tim Vicious. With me today, he is an independent wrestler. He does a whole lot of cool stuff on YouTube. Highly recommend you guys check that out. No comparison, Joey Harrison, dude. How are you, man?
Great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. So, see, you got a lot. You got Yankee stuff in the back, right?
Yeah, I'm at my friend Frank's house. He's a big Yankees fan. I'm actually more of a Mets fan. I grew up in Queens, New York, so by birth, I'm a Mets fan, for better or for worse.
All right. So this is gonna make things a little awkward right here, right now, because I'm a Philly boy, so obviously
Uh,
Phillies. And not only that, I've been a Red Sox fan since I was like 13. So back when it was not cool to be a Red Sox fan, and you were like cast aside like a leper.
right.
So, so, so glad to hear you're doing good. What got you it started off? What got you interested in wrestling right at the start? Let me ask you that.
So when I was a kid, it was always something on at my cousin's house. My cousin Tommy, he's a few years older than me. I would say about 6 to 8 years. I can't remember exactly right now. I'm terrible with ages. You could ask any one of my girlfriends or anything. I'm always like, well, what's your birthday? When's your birthday? I'm terrible with dates and ages. But anyway,
Dude,
um,
I'm the same way. If I can remember your birthday, consider it a blessing.
yeah. And the only way I remember birthdays is like if you're in the same month as me, I'm like, okay, they're 10 days after me or 5 days before me. I can remember that. Or they're 2 days before Christmas. Or, if I could associate your birthday with a holiday, that's a lot easier for me. Um,
Yeah, the fact that I can remember that my son and my one brother's birthday, I remember with no problem whatsoever. Everyone else is like, Tim, you did remember that, right? Uh,
like,
yeah, sure, we'll go with
yeah,
that.
yeah. Thank God for Facebook memories. But you're like, oh, it's so and so's birthday coming up. Yeah.
Exactly. That's
Um, but
continue.
but as far as with wrestling, my cousin Tommy was big into it. He had like the illegal box back in the day. I mean, God, that's a throwback in itself, having
Oh
the
yeah,
illegal
hot box.
cable and stuff like that. And so he watched WWE or WWF at the time. He watched WCW, and then later on ECW when that came out. But I would always watch with him, and I remember him renting WrestleMania 5 the most, and like I must have saw Hogan versus Warrior dozens and dozens of times. And it just always like intrigued me. I was more of a WWF fan. I was a little Hulkamaniac. My cousin, it's funny. I'm jealous because when Hogan got the rib injury with earthquake and stuff, and you could write into him and get an autograph back. Like my cousin did that. Yet he hated Hogan. He thought Hogan, I guess, because he is older than me, so he was at that age where he's like, Hulk Hogan's stupid, he's corny. He liked Flair, even though he grew up in New York. He liked WWF more, but he liked Flair more. And he thought Flair was like the cool guy, the cool heel, and he loved his matches. So Tommy loved Flair, and I loved Hogan, and then I also loved Savage and Piper and Warrior, and then around 91, 92, Bret Hart became probably my favorite wrestler, um, and I stuck with that for his entire career.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I will. I've always made the argument like our generation growing that grew up on wrestling. We were all little Hulkamaniacs in some way, shape, or form. But like some may have stayed Hogan with Hogan for forever, but some may have saw other guys and were like, "Oh wow, yeah, that's cool." Because Macho Man has been my guy for forever, and just because of the fact that like outside of the intensity and the character itself, it was just like the little mannerisms, like always twirling around on his
Yeah.
toes, and the hand gestures, the over
Yep.
articulating, and it was just like that is really a lot like me when I get wound up. And I just would think that because my parents would say that to me, like, you're when I would get wound up, like, you're acting like freaking Randy Savage. Like, really? Wow.
I remember
Yeah.
my first my first Hasbro WWF action figures were Warrior and Macho King. So
Oh man. Yeah, I
so
tried hunt.
Savage.
I spent forever hunting for a Macho King. I could never find one. I had Savage. I had just
Mhm.
regular Savage, but I could never find a Macho King. That was just like, oh, that was like a
Yeah,
hurt piece trying to find it.
so Macho Man has always just been part of my childhood. Like, and I can't remember if I got him because I was like, oh, I really like him, or because I needed a bad guy and he was my favorite bad guy, or I just thought he was cool, or maybe all of the above. But I just remember going to Toys R Us. It was, if you bought 2 WWF figures at the time, you got a free poster. And I got an Ultimate Warrior poster, which I still have to this day, that has the WWF logo and the Toys R Us logo on there. And I got the Warrior that did the action feature like that. And
Oh
Macho
yeah,
King
the
was,
one with the
yeah,
hand thing that does like the
yeah,
gorilla press.
yep.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome there. Yeah, I spent I spent way more time than I care to admit hunting for it, but probably I got a small little figure collection. Probably like I consider it like the holy grail of mine. It's the elite WWE elite Macho Man Slim Jim figure.
That is such a cool figure. I love it.
Yeah, I spent more time than I care to admit hunting for it, but I was happy because every other site I was looking at were asking for like 3 digits or more. They were asking for like 200 or 300 bucks. I found it for like $90. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that was what I said. I was like, wait, what? And I jumped on that in a second.
So you missed out on it when it dropped online. Is
Yeah,
that?
I did. I missed out on it at the time just because I didn't have the finances, and it was and then once I did have the money, I was like, all right, let me check. I know my toy hunting. I know my good toy hunting holes,
Yeah.
and looked around, and then I got it. I was like, yes.
It's such
I,
an awesome figure.
yeah. So was there ever like any one particular match that you looked at and you were like, that's it. That's what I want to do now.
Um, Not really, because like I remember being in like first grade going, I want to be a wrestler. Um, like I had folders in my Trapper Keeper with like uh, Dusty Rhodes, the LOD, Macho Man or Macho King, Warrior, Boss Man, Hogan. Like I had all those folders, and I don't know. I loved it. I was like so sucked in right away, and having that influence of my cousin watching it too, that definitely was the reason why I got started to love it. But then there's all the toys, there's all the merchandise tie-ins. I had nieces and nephews that liked it. I had other relatives that liked it too, because I mean, in the 90s, a lot of people liked it. It was a big deal. I remember even when the big expose of this is predetermined and stuff. I remember there was a show called The Current Affair that like would have like random topics exposing certain things or talking about a celebrity scandal, if you will. But they talked about wrestling, and they talked about being predetermined and stuff like that. And even as a kid, it like some kids, like they heard it and they went, oh, I'm not watching that anymore. And with me, I don't know, it didn't phase me whatsoever. It didn't, like, I don't know, I just heard it and just went, oh, okay, like
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, because I
um
kind of got my eyes opened up like that when I saw Wrestling with Shadows for the first time. And I heard Brett talking about on how, yeah, we got to talk about on how the match ends. And I just looked, I was like, wait, what? And my dad just looked like, yeah, this stuff, it's not real, it's fake. And then wind up watching, what was it? Raw the following week, and they just showed some real hard physical stuff on it. I don't remember what match it was, but it was like really hard hitting. And I just was like, yeah, Dad, this stuff ain't fake. They may pick the winner, but it's not fake.
I heard
And
DDP described it best. He said, "You can't fake gravity."
yeah, exactly. Because, and the, I did backyard stuff from the time I was 12 until I was 27. And true sign of the kid that ignored the don't try this at home stuff. But, we would plan the endings, but everything else was just like, no, we're just going to call it out there. And that's all we did. So it was just like, yeah, whatever. And, and I think that kind of like made it more appealing to me in that sense of, okay, it's no different than like if you go and see a superhero movie.
Right.
Captain America is going to beat the Nazis. Spider-Man's going to stop the villain. But it's everything up until that point that is what's interesting, what's intriguing.
It's physical theater too. They interact off the crowd, and you boo, you cheer, you like you said, you see a hero, you see a villain. They play to the crowd, and the bumps and the bruises. You could only fake so much. And there's no other aspect of entertainment like it, or sports even. Baseball players aren't like, going like that, and you get fined in the NFL for playing to the crowd too much and stuff like that. Like there's nothing like professional wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the football player's name. He used to do the local sports in Philadelphia. He would get fined because he would go up and do like shadow bot. He would go and treat the goalpost like a punching bag. Just go up and boom, boom, left, right, left, right. Like, and that to the point to where they were like, and that was because they were fining players because they were going and dunking when they would get touchdowns.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just like, yeah.
Right. It takes the fun out of it,
Yeah. Yeah. And, I made that argument before. Wrestling, it's not like anything else out there on TV. It is live action Shakespearean. It's a live action Shakespearean theater that's also like a sitcom, because or not a sitcom. That's also like almost kind of like a production, like you'd see something on the Muppet Show or something, because you got action, you got comedy, you got drama, you got a little bit sex appeal. And then it's just all of that wrapped up into one.
Every week too.
Yeah, and it's no off season. And that's the crazy part, that nobody ever bothers to take the time to think about, like, oh, that's fake. Okay. Those movies, you don't ever complain about that.
Right.
Nobody ever, it makes no sense. I can't understand on that.
Yeah, too many people are quick to judge just because they know it's predetermined, or they know it's talked about backstage, but like you said, you do it 52 weeks a year. You have to do a job, and this job is like putting yourself through a car wreck every week.
Yeah, and that's why I give all wrestlers mad respect in the world, because while I may have been doing backyard garbage stuff, I took my fair share of bumps and bruises. And I know, not trying to compare like backyard stuff to just as hard as the indies, but firsthand, I know, like, had chairs smashed over me. I've had trash cans smashed over me. I've been, we've constructed our own rings. I understand all too well how much this can hurt you. This can wear and tear on not just your body, but your mind.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're walking into.
Absolutely. I mean, you get hit. Those are real folding chairs. Those are real trash cans, and it sucks. You can't possibly get used to that feeling. And when you fall, you take those bumps. It's like you're falling on the floor. And yeah, we know how to help ourselves, but only so many times you can fall. Like some wrestlers call it the bump card. Like you only have so many bumps on your bump card.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's actually, it's funny you said that, because I would joke around when my son was little, when he was like 3 or 4, he would fall constantly, and I'd be like, "Bud, you got to stop with that. You can only take so many bumps, you know." And then a few days later, I get a call from his school saying, "Well, he took a bad fall, but he's okay. He was a little shooken up. He just wanted us to call and let you know, and he wanted to talk to you." Okay. You all right, buddy? I took a bad bump. Those were his exact words. Like, you took a bad bump? Yeah. Is my bump card full? No, far from it. So, yeah. But uh, how'd your family take it when you told them you were going to go into wrestling? Because I know my family wanted to kill me when they found out I was doing the backyard stuff.
So like I said, since elementary school, I've always had an interest in it, and it only just grew as I got older. And high school was really when I really was thinking about doing it. It just they were supportive, but they were like, "You need to go to college. You need to go to college and then figure out something." So I went to college. I got a theater degree, and in my mindset was because it will help me with wrestling. That was the only, I would say the only reason, if at least the main reason of why I did that. And then I started later in life. Like I was, as I got older, I got more hesitant. I got nervous. Like, what if I fail? Instead of saying, what if I succeed? I was constantly going, what if I fail? What if this doesn't work out? And I hated that. I hated having that obstacle. And we always do that to ourselves. We always put the negative first when we do things in life, and it sucks. And it's something I still deal with today. But I was in my late 20s, and my friend John was training locally. I live in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, so he was training locally, and he told me about this school, and I went, hey, you know what? If John is okay in a couple months, like going through this, then I think I'm going to do it too, kind of thing. And my mom and dad were like a little apprehensive, but they knew I always wanted to do it, so they said, okay, like, go at it, but you're responsible for yourself and your finances and stuff like that, and but we're gonna love and support you. And but they've helped. My mom has helped me in every way possible. I think she was just trying to say, like, you got to do this on your own, but as parents do, but they always help you out in the end. My dad, before he passed, he saw a couple matches like on DVD and stuff like that, or on YouTube. And my mom went to one show, and it was kind of funny. Luke Gallows was on the show, and he came out, and my sister, as a joke, my sister Kelly, told me that she turned my mom and said, "Oh, that's Joey's going to wrestle him." As a joke, because Luke Gallows is a huge individual,
Oh yeah, I saw him I saw him way back when Jeff Jarrett was doing the GFW stuff.
Mm-hmm. And so she said that as a joke, and then all of a sudden my music hit, and she went, "Oh shit!" She didn't know that I was being involved in a segment with him. Luckily it was just a segment, and gave me a big boot, and that was it, but we talked trash back and forth for a minute, and that was it. So luckily, my sister and my mom didn't have to see me get massacred by a tremendous man such as Luke Gallows, but that was kind of a funny story there.
Yeah. Also, Luke, man, hands down, probably one of the funniest people out there on the planet.
Yeah.
Just the way he just will carry a conversation and talk about whatever.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, like what was it? When I went to that GFW show, I took my dad with me because, and if you ever get it, if my dad, if you ever give him the chance and ask him to talk about it, he'll tell you on how when he was a teenager, he would go to shows in Philly, and on how he was like a heartbeat away from getting into a fist fight with Blackjack Mulligan because he kept taunting him. And it's like you realize on how lucky you are you didn't die, right?
Right. Right.
Like he's like, yeah, I heard the stories. Yeah, I'm like yeah, you're lucky. You're really lucky.
Very. Yes.
But yeah, he went. I took my dad to that show, and the main event it was Gallows and Anderson versus PJ Black and I can't remember the other guy's name. Oh man, this is gonna drive me nuts all day now. But it was a tag match. But before the show, they were doing meet and greets, and my dad he saw Carl Anderson. He was talking to him, and they both saw that I had a Bullet Club hat, and they're like, "Hey, do you want another one?" I'm like, I'd probably come in handy. My son keeps stealing mine. And Gallows like, you want to take a picture? And we were joking around, doing the too sweet, doing pictures, and he was cracking jokes the whole time.
That's pretty awesome. I love like interactions like that, like where you meet not just a wrestler, but any kind of celebrity, and you're like, oh, they're like not an a-hole. They're just cool. They just happen to be famous in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, yeah, and that cracked me up because when I told them about how my son was, and at that time he was in daycare.
Mm-hmm.
14 going on 15 now, so this tells you on how far back it was.
Wow.
Yeah, but I told them on how he keeps stealing my hat when he and wearing it to school. They're like, "How old's he?" I told them. They're like, "And he's doing that on his own." Like, he goes around. He's taught all of his class on how to throw him up to too sweet, and they both they both popped like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
that
probably
was
love
that.
that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did. They cracked up on that. Like there you go, bring him in, young who.
Right.
Yeah, so Gallows and Anderson, I can't say nothing bad on them because when I saw them live, they were nothing but nice to me.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. So like I said on the introduction, you also do a lot of YouTube content as well. I've seen the stuff you do. I think it's cool. Outside of the matches, you put up some matches on there every now and then, but for the other stuff that you do, you want to give some folks that are listening a bit of an
Yeah.
idea?
So I do like food tasting videos. I do like maybe getting like the new thing at McDonald's, or just seeing something random in the store, or trying like the new Ghost energy drink or something like that with a friend or a family member. It started probably during I would say quarantine. I started doing something called the Joe Show, and where I would just do random skits, if you will. Like we did one that we talked about Star Wars, and one about Tiger King, because everybody was talking about Tiger King at that time. Stuff like that. And I would have it alone, or I would have guests, if you will, and they would send a video. I had AEW's Wheeler Yuta show up on an episode and stuff like that. And we would just do random stuff. It was something for me to do during quarantine. And then I would do food videos. And then I just went, hey, I just kind of enjoy. I've always liked trying the new thing, like the new candy bar, the new burger, the new whatever. But like now I'm doing it on YouTube and just being me, like if it gets 5 views, if it gets 100 views, cool. Like, I don't know. I just kind of enjoy it. Sometimes it gets like, oh crap, I have to put something out. But most of the time, I don't know. I just enjoy just doing it, and there's no rhyme or reason about what I post on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. I just make a video, I post it. And that way it just keeps my channel up and running. And then I post matches when I have them.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, because I get that. I'm the same way. I started doing my ranch show 10 years back, just because, I had a lot swirling in my head about at the time about what was good and what was bad in wrestling, this, that, and the other. And then when COVID happened and everything was locked down, a bunch of people I knew, we were all complaining about this shutdown, that shutdown. And, the main thing a lot of us were joking around was, yeah, I can't believe karaoke bars are shut down. And it was like, you know what? We can't go to the karaoke bar. We're going to bring the karaoke to Twitter. What? Yeah, I'm going to start a karaoke game every Friday night. What? And then it started like that. So now it's every Friday night I host a little karaoke party on Twitter, and we'll put up videos. And I do X amount of time on Twitter, and I go and say, you want to see the full video? Go and check out the playlist on my YouTube channel. You'll see it. So I do that, and it's now become a running joke. I say it's the most fun you can have the hour right before SmackDown starts.
Right, and I've seen you advertise it before and stuff like that. I love that you do it because it's something different, also.
Yeah, and I got no shame in my game. If it's a song I'm comfortable singing or doing, I will do it because I've gone out and I've sung "It's Raining Men," So I don't know many guys that would feel comfortable and go out and not just sing it, but go out and perform singing it.
You got to sing it with your soul if you're going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And if it's Homer Simpson's go-to song at Moe's, then you know what? It's good enough for me.
But damn right.
Exactly. A lot of people tend to forget that. That was Homer's song in the jukebox. It's raining men. Not no more, it ain't.
I forgot. Yeah. I forgot about that, and I was like, "Yep, yeah, it is."
Yeah, it's like I said, I got a weird mind in that sense of birthdays and anniversaries. I got a fight to remember, but you give me some random obscure quote from a TV show, I will be able to recite all the main details about that, not just that show, but everything going on in that series with no problem.
That's how I am too, like random pop culture facts or, who was this person on that show and, behind the scenes stuff and or random wrestling knowledge. But you ask me when so-and-so's birthday is, I'm like, it's some month of the year. But
yeah, like I'm getting better at it. I can remember my mom's better because she shares the same date as my son, but she's about 4 or 5 months before him. So it's just like, okay, she's here, he's there. Okay, so I can plan accordingly.
Right.
Yeah, it's weird way my brain functions and thinks.
It gets us through though, right?
Yeah. So I've also seen on how you're open about it. You show your workout journey. Obviously with wrestling, it's a physically demanding sport. You gotta lift. So how you been holding up, man, with that?
I've been pretty good. It's been a bit of a struggle lately. I guess I felt like I hit like a wall, so to speak. I was just like kind of bored, and I used to work out with one of my friends, Duke, and we worked out every Monday and Friday morning, and it was tremendous help, and he helped me get in probably the best shape I feel like I've been in. And then once he changed jobs, though, I was going solo again. So it was kind of hard, but but they say you fall in love with results, and that's like your driving force. So that has helped me tremendously. I took a few days off just because I was having some spasms and stuff like that. So it was kind of hard, but I've been working out the last couple of days, and I feel really freaking good. And I'm getting motivated again to just keep grinding because, I don't want to be unhealthy, and I want to look good. I want to feel good,
Yeah, I don't blame you on that, man. I know I tried doing the whole ton of food, ton of weight style myself back in my late teens, early 20s. and that was not good whatsoever. I looked like I felt like that girl Violet in Willy Wonka, like, "Ugh." And then as I got older, I wound up learning more, and I got into powerlift. I started doing some small little bits of powerlifting, mixing a little bit of powerlifting with a little bit of a bodybuilding style. And now I got this whole weird style I do myself where it's full body and I hit everything. And it's my brother who was a Marine and now he works as a CO. He sees mine and he's like, you're pretty much the way you work, you're training like you're being asked to be a tank and walk through a wall.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, yeah.
Right.
Hey, I do a lot of manual. My actual day job is physically demanding and requires a lot of manual labor. So, I got to be not just active. I got to move around and be able to lift heavy things up and not just put them down, but also be able to lift the heavy thing up, hold it for X amount of time, and then put it down.
Yeah. So you have to do it for your job and your lifestyle as well.
Yeah, and it just got to the point to where now that's what I'm comfortable with, and I can't think of any other kind of way that would actually feel good for me. Like, I can't think of going back to doing like an arm day, a chest day,
Uh-huh.
a back day. No, I'm fully comfortable and I love doing the full body. And my son, like I said, he's 14 going on 15 now. He's old enough. He asked me to bring him to the gym on his days on when he's not in school and when I'm off from work. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll teach you. I'm going to give you the blueprints on how to work out. Once you're old enough to start going on your own, you make your own style. Find what works for you. But what this is right here is just me giving you the fundamentals.
Right.
Yeah. And he's taken to it like a fish to water.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And he says all the time, he's got goals and admirations. His main thing is he wants to go and play for the Lakers when he's older. So, and
That's awesome. That's some big dreams right there.
that's why I told him, like, dude, if that's your goal, you hold on to it and don't ever let
Hell
it go.
yeah. That's
Don't
right.
ever let it go. No matter what. I don't care what anyone tells you. You got that. That's what you want to do. You go do it. Because
Yeah.
anytime
Yeah.
there have been people that said, there were people that told me I wouldn't be able to do wrestling. Dad did it. I may not have been able to do like the WWE stuff, but hey, I got to do it.
Right.
So that's my main thing. If that's your dream, Dusty said it best. As Dusty said, you got a dream, hold on to it and shoot for the stars, baby.
That's right.
Yeah. That's Joe, I want to thank you, man, for coming on. I'm getting the flag from my producer, Wade, who is constantly an a-hole to me on the other stuff I work on. So, dude, I want to thank you. I say this to everyone, but no problem, man. I say this to everyone, but I do honestly mean it. I do appreciate you coming on. You could have been doing a million different things, but you chose to sit here. I really do thank you on that, man. It does mean a lot to me.
I appreciate you having me. I've been waiting for a little bit to be on here. I remember we talked about it a while back, and I'm glad we made it happen.
Yeah, it took a while. I had some start and stops, and I knew I wanted to, before I had you come on, I wanted to get a rhythm and feel on how to do it the right way, because I didn't want to just jump in head first, not having an idea of what to do and how to do it.
Right, it's a learning experience.
Yeah. So any plugs, any socials, anything you want to get out there to let people know on? Because I know you do have a lot of stuff that you do work on.
So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, TikTok, just OMG IJH, YouTube as well, like you said, or look up No Comparison Joe Harrison. I also have a Pro Wrestling Tees store, which you can find this shirt at and other shirts at prowrestlingtees.com/OMG IJH. Yeah, I think that's all my socials right there.
That's awesome, man. You know, like I said, appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time to come out and do this. You know, you're welcome to come back anytime.
I hope I come back soon. Before we go though, we got a Too Sweet.
All right. Yeah, there you go. Throw them up, who? Too sweet. All right.